It's another episode of Kraken Takeaways brought to you by Sound of Hockey. Things have gotten a little bit dreary here since our last episode.
Little sketch.
Yeah, we missed the last episode. Well, I guess we missed doing an episode after Game 4, I should say, because I was traveling to Dallas that day, and that's where I am in my lovely hotel room here in Dallas. And it's not a remote Sound of Hockey setup unless we have some sort of MacGyvered setup for our microphone stand. Usually Kleenex boxes. If you're in a pinch, folks, you need a microphone stand for your Yeti microphone. I strongly recommend a Kleenex box. It seems to do wonders. Or a coffee cup can work as well. In any case, we're doing our best here, and I think you're going to have a good show. So we're going to talk very briefly, maybe not very briefly. We're going to talk briefly, though, about Game 4, since we didn't talk about it previously in this forum. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about Game 5. So first off, John, how are you feeling? We've had 2 losses in a row now. I imagine you're a little uneasy, if I'm not mistaken.
It's hard. Yeah, the vibes aren't great. I know this is playoff hockey, and anything worth getting doesn't come easy. So I'm a little, but emotionally drained a bit. I don't know what to think. I don't want to get my hopes up, but this is playoff hockey. That's what they do, right? So they'll probably win Game 6, just to play with our emotions a bit, and then we'll see what happens in Game 7. So
yeah, but we will see.
I'm on edge. I'm on edge.
Right.
I'm okay. I'm grounded, but for the most part, I'm on edge.
Yeah, I can understand that. I feel similarly. So in that Game 4, there's just a couple things that we want to talk about here. Obviously, they lost that one. 6-3 was the final. They effectively spotted Dallas it went to 4-0, I think, before they started to push back. They got a goal to make it 4-1. Then they got another goal at the end of the second period to make it 5-1. And then they did battle back a little in the third, but it was too little too late to overcome almost dropped my phone. Caught it. That was a full-on glove save and a beauty right there. But yeah, they made it kind of a game, but it was too little too late. So the strange play on the first period power play goal. So this is what got the scoring started, right? They were 0-0. It was tight checking through the first period. I thought that they were going to get through that period without giving up anything, and they'd be in a fine spot. And there were 2 chances, right? Jared McCann had a one-timer from the top of the slot, and Jamie Alexiak had a puck go off his skate that missed the outside of the post by an inch. So there were 2 plays there that could have put them on the board. And instead, you're like, all right, well, at least get to the period tied 0-0. Instead, they had this thing where they were on a power play. Then they took a penalty to make it 4-on-4. So they were 4-on-4 for a minute. When the Dallas penalty ended, they recognized that they were going to be shorthanded then. But there's this weird thing where instead of just keeping the puck and passing it back and moving it around and whatever, they instead just kind of softly handed the puck over to Dallas. They just gave away possession in the offensive zone. Dallas rushed up the ice, made a couple nice passes. Jamie Benn scored. And that was just a very strange play for me that sticks out, because if they don't do that, if they hold on to the puck for another, 10, 20 seconds or whatever, they probably get set up a little bit better. I don't know. It was just a very strange thing. I don't know if you even remember that play, John.
I do. It just seemed kind of like a lackadaisical play, and I'm not trying to get too critical of NHL players. I know they're dealing with a lot and need to make split-second decisions, but it's just a reminder also of how even small little plays can make a huge impact on
100%,
the game,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I like to notice those all the time. It's usually not the goal that scored. It's the 5 events that happened before it that leads to the goal that created the opportunity. And I think this is an excellent example.
Yeah, and Hackstall said yesterday at Morning Skate on Thursday, he was like, there's a very fine line. These weren't exact words, but basically it's a very fine line between winning and losing sometimes. He said in Game 4, he thought that they were just a little bit off, and you don't have to be way off, but as a group, you can be just a little bit off, and that can cost you the game. And I think that's what happened. Another big factor, and this was certainly a piece of contention here, was the goalie interference challenge. So I have the video. I took this off the big screen, so it's probably not the best video ever. But what happened was Jamie Benn here, he shoves Philipp Grubauer. Grubauer jumps in the air, gets pushed way out of the crease, and then he's supposed to get back, reset, and have an opportunity to stop the puck. Now, the way the goalie interference works, there's a couple things. First, the contact has to be in the crease, right? That's number one. Number two is that, I don't know, I guess that's pretty much it. The contact has to be in the crease. There's two different moments of contact here, right? So if we play it again, the first one obviously comes here. Now, this to me is in the crease. This is goalie interference. So if the play ends here, 100% that's goalie interference, no goal. I could even argue you could give Ben a penalty here for literally shoving the goalie out of his position. I think what happened was they ruled that Grubauer had enough time to get set between the two pieces of contact, and the second piece of contact happened outside the crease, and Carson Soucy is the one that kind of initiates it by shoving Jamie Benn into Grubauer. Now, the thing is, though, he's never this far outside of the crease unless he gets shoved on the first one. So I don't understand how you can look at that as two separate plays when he's never really back into position. And then now the shot finally comes and he's got his head in Jamie Benn's wiener. So I don't understand it. It led to this photo of Jared that I took when I asked him, hey, what'd you think of the goalie interference? And it was kind of funny because the scrum, he was like really straight laced on all his answers. I just asked him that very simple question, and he goes, I don't know what the hell goalie interference is anymore. I really don't. Like, he kind of flew off the handle pretty quickly, went from 0 to 60, which I thought was interesting. But John, what was your take on all that?
Well, I agree with your assessment on the goalie interference breakdown. And you broke it down great on your 3 takeaways after that game. And provided the context and what they probably were thinking, at least the referees were thinking, by not ruling it goalie interference. That said, I don't. The initial contact is the initial contact, and that should be a penalty. Like, I don't know that aside, and you're looking at slow-mo and you're like, okay, I guess he had enough time, but you're looking at it in slow-mo. And if you look at it on the initial contact, the puck is right there, ready to the shooter is right position. There, ready. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, let me adjust, right? You're just like, I got to stop this, whatever I got to do, whatever position I'm in, I'm locked in, right? I can't like shuffle and get reset because the guy has a golden opportunity to shoot, which he did, and he scored. So I totally agree. Now, when that happened, when it was going to be reviewed, I had to go take a walk, like in the concourse. I honestly did, because first of all, it was 2-0 and that would have made it 3-0. And that was like, absolutely, even if it was a long shot to get the goalie interference call, Hackstall's got to make that play, right?
Yeah.
Make that call. If there's a chance, that's a chance to get back in the game, because going down 3-0 is, for the most part, a death sentence for a lot of teams. And so I think it was the right call. I agree it should have been goalie. Yeah, the right call to challenge. I thought it was goalie interference, but I think those are coin flips every time I look at it. So so
you
I'm
never
not
know.
surprised by the outcome, but I'm also like, I don't know. Like,
right. You never know which way it's going to go. It is what frustrates me about it is that rule that you then get a second penalty for losing the challenge, especially on one like that, where it is a coin flip, and they looked at it for a long time, right? Like, there's got to be some benefit of the doubt there. What's the point of being allowed to challenge something when it's that close, if then you're going to take it makes no sense to me that they had to take a penalty on a play like that, where it's so incredibly close. And then that costs them, right? Because they score on the power play. It's a 2-goal swing. If you take those 2 goals out, the Kraken do get back in and tie that game, right? If everything else goes exactly the same in the rest of the game. So it's frustrating, but we can't hang the whole thing on that play by any means, because the Kraken weren't good enough in game 4. They only had 10 shots through 2 periods. So they set themselves up to lose that one. They did something similar in game 5. So last night they give 2 early breakdowns effectively that cost them. They were the better team in that first period, although they didn't get anything inside. Everything was to the perimeter, but they had all the possession, all the offensive zone time, except for 2 little plays that ended up in the back of Seattle's net. And it was almost akin to like inaugural season Kraken, where it's like, all right, they're out skating them, they're out working them, they're out shooting them, and boom, 2-goal deficit. Like, where did this come from? So they put themselves in a hole. They added a 3rd goal against at the very beginning of the the second period, and it just became a little bit too big of a mountain. But what did you think on those early goals there, John?
I mean, unfortunate, right? Just bad breaks, and you just can't let two of them, right? One's easy to come back from, or I should say easier. Two
Mhm.
is two is pretty huge. When a team's up by two, it's pretty challenging to come back, even if it's in the first period. I mean, there's plenty of time, and they would end up getting two goals. But the one thing I looked at the end of the game is if you remember Rupe Hintz's fourth goal,
Mhm.
or the fourth goal of the game, where it was like pretty much in the crease. Three of the Stars' 5 goals. One was an empty netter, but three of the 5 were literally on top of the paint, right in front of Grubauer. Those are like the most high danger shots
Yeah.
ever, right?
Yeah.
And then I looked at, so that was what my eyes were telling me. And then I looked at the high danger chances, and Dallas had 12 high danger chances. So that means high probability shots is like as great as shots as you can get. And then in Seattle, like you said, they didn't have any high danger shots in the first period, would end up with 5
Mhm.
by the end of the game. So that was that was to me the kind of the scenario. And even the Hintz goal, the fourth goal, was another kind of breakdown. I think that's where Dunn kind of let it go. And
Yep. And it
yeah,
looked like Beniers had a chance to get it behind the net as well, and just like either overskated it
yeah,
or
just
Hintz made just enough of a move to keep it. Yeah, and even that first goal, like the Will Borgen, he deflects a pass, but he just like pushes it right to Jamie Benn.
right.
And then he's got a
Yeah,
chance to deflect it again, and it misses his stick by like that
yeah,
much, and he swings his leg around behind himself to try to block it, misses the block by like that much. It was like,
yeah.
oh man, if you watch that thing in super slow mo, he had many chances to break that up and just missed on all three. So disappointing there.
Yeah.
So they did try to come into the Kraken's credit. They never quit, right? That's the story of the Seattle Kraken. They never, ever quit. They tried to come back from 3-0 and they almost did it, right? They got it back to 3-2 after goals by Adam Larson and Jared McCann, which, by the way, that's 18 unique scorers now for the Seattle Kraken, with Jared McCann getting credited for the second one. And they got close. It was a valiant effort. And Jordan Eberle said after the game that they felt like they could feel a tying goal coming. Like they were like, all right, let's go, keep it going here. And then instead, they just didn't generate much in that third period. Again, as you said, Hintz got the fourth goal. That was obviously the backbreaker. So that was it. I mean, you can't dig yourself into a 3-goal deficit in any time of season, but especially in the playoffs, and hope to win. And they've now done it in 2 games in a row. I do think, I don't want to say anything here is Philip Grubauer's fault. Like, I think there's a couple of goals in this series that he'd like to have back where, like maybe the second one from last night, it's kind of from far out. It's a great shot off the post and in. He might've been partially screened also. The Pavelski goal, that's probably the third goal in the series now where it's kind of hit him and he's got a chance to just gather it. And instead it pops out for a rebound. And that's how Pavelski scores there. So I don't think I'm not ready to say he's like off his game, but he's not red hot like he was through. I almost knocked over the Kleenex box. He's not red hot like he was through, the first series and beginning parts of the second series. So hopefully he can find his game for Game 6, because the Kraken are now on the brink of elimination for the second time in these playoffs. Obviously, they had Game 7 last series. Now they're going to have to win 2 in a row to get through the Dallas Stars. Think they can do it, John?
I think they can force a Game 7, and then once you get there, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, this team, even in the losses, the last 2 losses, they've showed moments where they are the better team. But I'm not going to say they deserve to win either game, but at moments they're significantly better than Dallas, and they just need to kind of keep that for a 60-minute effort or more. But get to a Game 7 and anything can happen.
That's right. All right, folks. The vibes are not great right now, but hopefully we'll get some better ones in a day. So talk to you all very soon. Cheers.